How do you feel about that?
I mean, it definitely makes sense. You know what I mean? I don't know Pac to know if he really felt like, you know, Biggie didn't set him up.
Imagine the king of New York, standing in a Manhattan hotel room with a contract worth more than the Yankees' payroll, then whispering, "If this leaks, I'm done for." That single sheet of paper, rumored to promise $62 million, may be the fuse that blew hip-hop apart, isn't rap folklore. It's a mosaic built from sworn statements, leaked memos, and 2025 courtroom bombshells. Today, we're stringing every shard together, from Biggie's secret jailbreak plan and Charli Baltimore's late-night confessions to Faith Evans' puzzling loyalty and the federal trial now threatening to yank Sean Diddy Combs off his throne for good. Strap in, each turn tightens the knot. By January 1997, Christopher Wallace was done being Bad Boy's golden goose. Gene Deal, Puffy's longtime security chief, recalls Big pulling a stapled packet from his Louis duffel. 7 years, multiple albums, and a roster that read like an East Coast Avengers roll call. Cameron, Lil Kim, Lil Cease, Junior Mafia, Tracy Lee, Charlie Baltimore, and the crown jewel, the commissioned supergroup with Jay-Z. Total value, about $62 million. Big's plan was simple. Let Life After Death go platinum, slip the packet to lawyers, and walk publishing rights included. But the streets were buzzing with East versus West paranoia, and Big privately admitted to Charlie, "If this gets out, they'll clip me before I sign." But that was only the opening verse. In Biggie's head, the commission would eclipse every Coast War. Jay-Z has since confirmed they had tracks drafted, roles assigned: Big as chairman, Hav as CEO, Charlie as the femme fatale envoy industry. Chatter says they'd launch outside Bad Boy, starving Puff of his marquee act and half his catalog. Facebook groups still trade grainy faxes listing Hit Factory studio dates for a commission album that never saw daylight. The bigger the dream grew, the more Big sensed eyes on him. He began doubling bodyguards, rerouting travel, and telling Charlie to memorize safe house numbers. One night, he scribbled Plan B ATL in a rhyme book. Insiders now claim that meant relocating the label headquarters to Atlanta to dodge Bad Boy reach. None of it happened. 5 weeks later, Big was gone, and with his exit, the quiet partner found her voice. Charlie wasn't just the red-haired muse from down bottom. In Bacafist parlance, she held the blue folder duplicate, copies of the $62 million term sheet that Big handed her in case something went left. For 28 years, she said nothing. Then, in May 2025, she popped into a TikTok live and unloaded. Big told her Diddy was skimming everything, feared Faith Evans would tip Puff off, and warned that somebody inside the company was itching to make a West Coast example out of him. Days later, she let slip that federal investigators had already called about the documents. Court watchers believe her folder could slide straight into the evidence stack if the Justice Department tax homicide conspiracy counts onto Diddy's current racketeering case. One woman is speaking, but another has spent decades biting her tongue. Ask Faith. And the idea that Puff plotted on Big is pure fiction. In her often cited 2018 Bet sit-down, she said, flat out, Puff would never be involved in offing one of his best friends. We'd have sued him a long time ago. Yet nearly every other Bad Boy insider contradicts her. Even Big's mom, Voletta, thinks Faith's sermon doesn't match the math. Fresh YouTube breakdowns highlight that Faith's touring book deals and reunion stage spots all trace back to Puff's checkbook. A cozy link Charlie now calls hush money, not loyalty. Last month, Faith finally chimed in on Diddy's trial via a phone interview, claiming she's praying for all parties. Critics say she's hedging bets, waiting to see which way the gavel swings before planting her flag. Meanwhile, journalists kept digging and cracked open a 6-month time capsule of guilt. On May 30th, 2024, Rolling Stone detonated an investigative epic, Bad Boy for Life, Sean Combs' History of Violence. The headline trended for 72 hours straight on X, with the magazine sharing pull quotes that painted Puff as abusive, controlling, and eerily calm about Big's demise. Key takeaways: witnesses heard Big negotiating for his publishing days before he was gunned down. Ex-President Kirk Burroughs claimed Rolling Stone wanted a Biggie memorial cover in '97, but Puff snapped, "He's dead. I need the cover to push No Way Out." 2 years later, Puff himself bragged that at least 2 million of his 5 million sales came directly from Big's death wave. Former staff recalled Puff growing jealous of Big's friendship with Tupac, A jealousy that metastasized into the infamous East Coast-West Coast marketing war. Each revelation folded back on Biggie's final fear. When the dude making millions off my voice wants me quiet, that's a problem. Big's mother already knew that problem ran deeper than sales. Asterisk, for a quarter century, Valletta has repeated the same refrain. I have a very good idea who unalived my son, and the LAPD does too. They finished the investigation, they just won't move. She lent her blessing to City of Lies, the Johnny Depp drama based on Detective Russell Poole's buried files. Hoping the film would expose why key LAPD evidence disappeared, on press day she blasted the department, saying some of them are still corrupt and vowing to fight until someone powerful is behind bars. In 2024, after Rolling Stones exposed A, she told E.T. that she wanted to slap the daylights out of Sean Combs if even half the abuse claims were true, calling his empire blood money built on my baby's voice. Mrs. Wallace might get her wish because the federal spotlight on Puff has never burned hotter. June 13, 2025, Courtroom 26B, Southern District of New York. Kanye shows up in a charcoal trench right before the judge threatens to boot a chatty juror. Reporters gasp as prosecutors roll surveillance footage of a 2016 hotel assault and read text logs describing drug-laced freak-off parties. The indictment frames Diddy's empire as a racketeering organization stretching back to college days belt beatings, hush money NDAs, private jets stuffed with pills. Legal analysts warn, a racketeering conviction lets the feds revisit predicate acts, including unsolved homicides tied to business motive. Translation: if Charlie hands over those blue folders, Biggie's case could bolt onto the sentencing phase like an anchor. Puff's final A's never taking the stand might crumble if the jury demands to hear him explain why his own security chief saw a $62 million contract and a terrified superstar 5 weeks before a drive dashed by Dot. And if Diddy falls, the aftershocks won't stop at one verdict. A guilty verdict would likely freeze Bad Boys Publishing and ignite civil suits from Big's estate, Tupac's estate, and former artists claiming revenue skims. Faith Evans could face perjury heat if her past interviews clash under oath. Former label execs guarding lost hard drives might sprint for immunity. LAPD brass, who deep-sixed Russell Poole's files, risk pension-shredding indictments. Hip-hop history itself could flip. The narrative that East versus West rivalry took big by random stray bullets would be replaced by a boardroom murder plot over one life-changing contract. Radio programmers, rock hall curators, even streaming playlist titles might need rewriting, which brings us back to the question Biggie never stopped asking. Mo money? Mo problems? But for whom? Biggie once penned, "If I die, I couldn't choose a better location." He never imagined that location would be a courtroom 28 years later, where a red-haired rapper holds the receipts, a jazz-trained singer guards the silence, and a billionaire mogul fights to keep his legacy and freedom alive. If Charlie Baltimore walks into that witness box, we may finally learn whether greed, envy, or raw fear triggered the night of March 9, 1997. Until then, every headline out of Diddy's trial feels like a verse from Big's missing third album. Was Faith Evans shielding a friend or shielding herself? Did Puff's empire run on talent or on secrets? And if the blue folder goes public, will hip-hop history rewrite itself overnight? Hit subscribe because the next leak could land before the verdict, and when it does, you won't want to blink.